Here in the studio is Steve Chaggaris. He's a political journalist and commentator. Let's start with that top tier because it's interesting. You got Warren and Sanders flanking Biden, where both of them should probably be on the left. They're going after the progressives. Will they try and create some daylight between the two of them? Because they're really kind of targeting the same voter, aren't they?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You know, Sanders and Warren have had this ceasefire, basically. They haven't gone after each other. They've been on the same stage. And really, you know, they're friends. They've been doing this a long time. They know, they know each other. And they don't feel, neither of them really feel that going after each other and really going hard after the other candidates is a ticket to succeeding in these kinds of forums. So, you know, I don't anticipate that, but you never really know. You know, keep in mind, it's not just about the candidates going after each other, but it's the moderators. What kind of questions are they going to ask? And they're going to try to set up some situations in which the candidates wind up going after each other.
When you get it down to two candidates, everybody's on offense. But here, you almost have the strategy of playing defense in a sense. So what do you see as, you know, as Philip made a really good point, it's the lower tier candidates that really want to, you know, get some headlines, get some news. So are they the ones that are going to target the bigger fish, so to speak?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. You know, keep in mind, a lot of these folks tried to go after Joe Biden the last couple of times, and what wound up happening was Biden's in a unique situation, being the last Democratic vice president for a president who's quite popular among Democrats, and the attacks on Biden and criticisms of Biden were taken or perceived as attacks on the Obama presidency. And so, you know, the next day you saw Biden go out there and saying, wait a minute, why is everybody all of a sudden in this party, why are they all dumping on what Obama and myself did during the Obama presidency? So there's a risk going after Joe Biden, especially for one of these lower tier folks. We saw Julian Castro do that in the last debate, and it really sort of backfired because it came across, this is a guy who served in the Obama administration as a cabinet secretary, and he was out there criticizing the Obama administration. It was really interesting.
Beto O'Rourke, Philip mentioned him. He really has kind of glommed on to gun control, the gun issues since the mass shooting in El Paso. How prominent is that going to be as an issue on the stage?
Again, it all depends on what the moderators ask. I would imagine, given all of the shootings this summer, that it will be a question that'll probably be asked pretty early in the debate. Whether that turns into an opportunity for Beto O'Rourke to really shine, I mean, he's not really far apart on policy compared to the rest of the Democratic field. So, you know, maybe his outrage gets him a little attention, but I think you're going to see a lot of the Democratic candidates be outraged about what happened over the summer. It's an issue it's an interesting one for him to choose, mainly because it's hard for him to really set himself apart from 9 other candidates on the same stage. They're all going to be saying really similar things about gun control.
Let me ask you about the winnowing process, because we're starting to see it now. I mean, it was a huge, voluminous 20, now you've got 10. As we move along this process, I mean, there's only so many dollars that can go to these candidates, and that's really the lifeblood of a campaign. How quickly do you think we can start to see this collapse into just maybe 4 or 5 candidates?
Well, at least it's going to be at least a couple of months, because everybody who's on the stage tonight is automatically going to be in the next debate, which is next month. There is also an opportunity for the other 10 candidates who are not on stage to get into the next debate. And you've already seen one other candidate, it seems, Tom Steyer, qualifying for that. So there may be 11 plus at the next debate. So I'm not sure you're going to see a winnowing before the October debate. But you mentioned money, and it's really interesting because a lot of people, at least inside Washington, and Democrats, are really going to be watching Kamala Harris tonight, the senator from California, somebody who had a great rollout in the beginning of the year. She had a moment in one of the debates going after Biden and saw her poll numbers go up, but now they're back down. And now donors are really asking the question, is she really a person we can get behind? Because she's been so inconsistent in terms of her campaign to this point. So I think a lot of people, at least in Washington and the big money people, are going to be watching Harris. She doesn't have small donors to lean on. She's really looking at big donors to keep her afloat. If they come out of this debate looking at her and saying she's not the answer, she could be in trouble moving forward.
Okay, so we have analysts and pundits watching it. You'll be watching, but there's this other guy who's going to be watching, Donald Trump, and he likes to tweet about these sorts of things, and there's Pocahontas and Sleepy Joe and all of that. Today he was asked about the candidates, do you respect any of them? And he said, I respect them all, and he kind of astonished everybody. What do we expect from him? Because undoubtedly he'll be tweeting during this.
Yeah, you know, he'll say what he says. He's, you know, Sleepy Joe Biden and Pocahontas and Crazy Bernie, and he'll really, I think, focus on the top tier, the top 3 or 4 candidates. You know, I think he's just trying to set a narrative of what's going to happen if one of them becomes the nominee. But, you know, it's just Donald Trump sort of poking, as he always does at these things, and really just poking fun at these guys. Really, that's a strategy of his, and I think it's something you'll see him do tonight.
Steve, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Mike.